This is Dr. Deb Butler, and you are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is episode number 289. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Well, hello everybody today, all my very dear friends all over the world. As you've heard me talking about a lot lately is that I have a group that was getting ready to open. And now guess what? It is open. How exciting is that? And if you've been wondering about it or you're wanting to find out more about it, that's what I want to talk about today. And the most important thing about this group that I'm opening up, which I'm using my Thinner Peace process in this program, so I'm calling it the Thinner Peace program, but it's using my process and the tools in Thinner Peace. And what I'm going to do today for you is I'm actually going to play a podcast that I did 3 or 4 months ago. And it's also one of my most downloaded podcasts. So I'm calling it my most valuable podcast, number 3. It's the third one because I've played you a couple others. But this one is very specific on how my Thinner Peace process works, which is what I'm using in my group program. So I thought, how apropos to play that for you now as I talk to you about those doors opening. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, and then I'm just going to let you listen to that podcast where I actually talk about the Thinner Peace process, because I think that's the best way to know if it's right for you and to see what I include, to see what the tools are. And you can also go to drdebbutler.com/group, GROUP, and you can get all the details on that page. But you can also listen to me talking about it on this podcast, how this Thinner Peace process works. You can also go to my show notes, drdebbutler.com/289. And you can download, for instance, if you want to hear about the group transformation. So people that have been in my group that have had wonderful results, you can go to transformations and you can look that up. And the link is actually in my show notes. So all you have to do is click on it and you can see that. You'll also see in my page where I talk about this group, you'll also see some videos with some of my group members in that talking about it if you just want to hear firsthand what it was like being in a group with me. The other thing that I want to point out to you is that I have specifically created this program to start as the holidays begin. So it's actually going to be beginning in November and it's going to be ending at the beginning of February. Now, what that means to you is that you will have all kinds of opportunities to check in with celebrations and overeating. Because what I want you to be able to have in your back pocket is to have trust and confidence in yourself that you know no matter who you're with or where you're at or what food is in front of you, you've got this. You don't have to overeat it and you don't have to use it to reward yourself. And you don't have to use it to make yourself feel better. So why not just use all of these holidays that are coming up to not only look at it, but also to become free from it? Because once you can see what you're doing and be coached by me on these specific things, that's when you get freedom. And I promise you, this holiday will not be about deprivation and restriction because I'm going to help you lose weight without it. That's the freedom. Is that I want to teach you and make you believe, help you believe that you really can eat whatever you want. It's just, what do you want? And what's it going to give you if you eat it? And that's all the work that you do if you're working with me individually or in a group, is I help you see that and figure it out. The bigger the celebration, the bigger the occasion, the more learning opportunities there are. When you're in a group, the beauty is that even if it's not you and you watch me coaching somebody else, you will see yourself in them. You will learn something. Most of the people that are in my groups talk about the most beneficial thing about being in the group is watching other people being coached as well as yourself getting coached. So all you need to do is go over to drdebbutler.com/group and you can look up all the details. And I just did a free webinar today on all of this. So if you missed it, you will be able to get a recording if you want it. But more than anything else, you can still have the group offering that I offered in this podcast at the price that I offered it at. And it's only there for a few days. So, hey, if it's something you want, or if it's something you've been thinking about, or it's something that you've always known will help you, but you've been afraid to jump in, I want to assure you that the water is warmer than you think. So come on, have a little jump in the water. It's warmer than you think, and I'll take you the rest of the way. I'll hold your hand and take you the rest of the way with like-minded women who all want the same thing. Now, before I get off here today, I'm going to leave you with the most valuable podcast, number 3, about my thinner peace process. I want you to sit back and listen to it. And if it resonates with you, you know what you're going to have to do. Go to drdebbutler.com/group and sign up. So sit back, relax, and listen to me talk about this amazing thinner peace process that I created about 9 or 10 years ago. And of course, you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to tell you to be kind to yourself no matter what. And then I'll say it again on the podcast again. But do you think I can repeat myself too much? I don't think so. So sit back and enjoy. And I will see you next week. You are listening to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond with Dr. Deb Butler. This is episode number 270. Welcome to Thinner Peace and Menopause and Beyond. This is Dr. Deb Butler, Master Life and Weight Coach, and as always, your coach. If you're a woman and you're smart and you're successful and you've been struggling with weight your whole life, and now menopause is making it harder than ever, and you are ready to make this the last time you ever have to go on a diet again, then this podcast is for you. Stay tuned. Hi, my dear friends. How are you today? It's such a beautiful day today. I hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are. And I've got so much that I want to share with you, because what I want to talk about with you today, and I think a lot of you are really curious about this, because I talk a lot about my Thinner Peace program that I use with my individual clients, that I use in my group programs. It's a tried and true process that I've been using for about 8 years, maybe more, with unbelievable results. And if you want to look and hear about some of those results, you can always go to my website, drdebbutler.com, and look under transformations, because that's what I call all of my success stories with my clients. I call them transformations. And the reason that I use the term transformation is because I have a thing about butterflies. I love them. I feel so connected to butterflies. And from the beginning that I started life coaching, when I started it with Martha Beck, for those of you who don't know, she was who I got certified with first. And one of the things that she had said to all of us, and this was maybe 10 years ago, is that what would you like to see happen that seems like it would be unlikely that it could happen? But what would you like to see happen that would confirm to you that you becoming a life coach is what you're meant to be doing? And so what I wanted to see was, I wanted to see a butterfly land on me, because I really had a connection to butterflies. And what happened after I left that certification is I ended up in a place in Sedona with my husband, and we were staying at a bed and breakfast that he had scheduled. And the name of the bed and breakfast was called La Mariposa, which of course stands for butterfly. No clue. I did not even know what it was called. And from the minute that we went to this place, the iron gates, they were gates that opened up when we came in, were butterflies. And then the host of the bed and breakfast came out and he apologized to us ahead of time. He said, I hope you don't mind, but my wife loves butterflies. So you're going to notice when you come into our houses that everything is butterflies. Now, come on. That's how my whole process started, was with that. It was like a confirmation from whoever you deem, if it's the universe, if you call it God, if you call it energy, whatever you call it. It was like, okie dokie, I get it. And while we were staying at this bed and breakfast, I just cannot tell you that butterfly lamps, butterfly sheets, butterflies everywhere. And it was the beginning. I ended up coaching his wife. I was practicing. And it really was the beginning of this beautiful transformation for myself, where not only did I learn how to transform my brain and my thinking through coaching, but it's where I decided to create my niche with the body, with weight loss, and all of that because of all of my issues. And then I went on to the life coach school with Brooke Castillo and started instructing for her and working for her and being highly influenced by her, which is how I came up with my whole weight loss program, Thinner Peace. Which leads me to what I want to talk to you about today. So the Thinner Peace process, which is what I call it, which I developed through years of experience working with clients and with my expertise on the body and nutrition and my expertise in coaching, because of course, maybe you do know, maybe you don't know, I became a master coach certified with the Life Coach School. And of course, I don't think there's a better coaching school out there. And I taught for the Life Coach School. I taught all the processes that I now teach. And then I created my own process called Thinner Peace. And of course, the name Thinner Peace says everything about what it's like to live in a body and in a mind that's peaceful with each other, which is what I call a mind-body connection, which is everything that I teach. And it's everything that I learned from the neural pathways of the brain, neuroplasticity, to the way the physical body responds to food. I created a program that considers all of those things. And the process that I created is based off of the 3 stages of a butterfly, because as you know, I got a thing for butterflies. So the first stage, which is the caterpillar stage, is called rethink. And basically, rethink is where I teach how to be able to connect to your body through the physical hunger scale, which is a process all in itself. And I talk a lot about it on my podcast. But in the program, and especially when I'm individually working with people, I make sure that you get that connection and teach you how to do it. And from there, we go into the emotional hunger scale and the vibrations in your body and what that feels like and what the difference is between feeding emotional hunger as opposed to physical hunger. And there is a unique difference. And I have a process for being able to teach you that, which I think is probably, if you never got anything else and all you got was that, would be mind-blowing and transformational. But then I also go into teaching you the model, which is how to solve any problem that could ever happen to you by learning how to manage your mind, which is circumstances trigger thoughts, thoughts create feelings, feelings create actions, and actions create results, and results are always evidence for your thinking, which is called the model. And I teach that in detail in my program, especially in the first part or the first phase, which is called rethink. Now, once I think you have your mind more managed by the tools that I'm teaching you in this first phase, Then we go on to the second phase. Now, for those of you, if you've gotten my companion workbook, that has everything in my first phase. The only thing it doesn't have is the coaching, which is a very valuable asset. And for some of you, it's probably what's missing. However, the other two phases are not in this companion book that you would have to get by actually working with me. And the reason is because the second phase is pretty difficult to teach in a podcast. But I want to tell you just a little bit about it and why I call it the second phase and what that second phase is. It's called reset. And basically, that's the second phase of butterfly transformation, which is the chrysalis. And that's basically when the caterpillar kind of liquefies before it transforms. So reset is when I teach you how to figure out what works best for your body, which I think is really, really important. Once you have your mind managed around your physical hunger scale, your emotional hunger scale, when you can learn a little bit more about managing your mind, then we actually start working on the actual food component. And the way that I work that and the way that it came about was that what I learned as a chiropractor, and for those of you who don't know, I was a practicing chiropractor for 30 years. I had my own office with my husband, very, very successful, helped hundreds and hundreds of people through those years. And one of the things that I was really good at was I did a lot of nutrition with my patients. I did a lot of supplementation, and I used detox programs and cleansing programs to help them. And one of the things that I learned while I was using that is that I ended up towards the end of working with my chiropractic patients is what I found out is that I had some patients that did not respond to adjustments. And some people just came to me for other things other than body and back pain. But nonetheless, what I found is that there had to be another way to help people with pain if adjustments didn't work. And what I found out is through using detox and cleanses with them and taking certain foods out for a while, sometimes that's the only thing that helped them. So as I was creating my coaching practice and my weight loss practice and my thinner peace process, I decided that I wanted to put in not a cleanse or a detox like I used in my chiropractic practice, but I wanted to take certain foods out that I knew were inflammatory to the body and to give the mind and body a break from those foods, but also learn how to look at it and observe what it's like when you take those foods out. So I simplified the second phase, which is called reset. I simplified it by just calling it the no sugar and no flour experiment, because we call it an experiment. It's not what you're going to do for the rest of your life. It's what you're going to do for a period of time of what it's like for your mind and your body when you take those foods out and you chart it. So I created a mind-body transformation chart within this phase of reset where we chart certain things in the body and the mind. For instance, we chart how your energy is. We chart how your cravings are. We chart how your moods are. We chart even how your self-compassion is. We chart how your sleep is. We look at a bunch of different things that could be going on with you physically and emotionally, and we give numbers to it. And we do that for a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks, and we see what happens. And this is what I find a lot of the time. And I will also say to you that I have some clients that I don't even use this phase on for many, many reasons. But there are many clients that I do. And the reason that I do is because when you take flour and sugar out and you give the body a rest, the mind starts reacting differently. And the mind-body connection actually finds a better way of aligning with itself. It happens a lot of the time this way. And it really continues to amaze me. And you would probably find just from listening to a bunch of my different transformation videos or podcasts on my different clients that they refer to the no flour, no sugar experiment is monumental in their change, because most of my clients will always say to me in the beginning, oh, I've done no flour, no sugar. Yeah. But they've never done it, and you've never done it with coaching, where we coach your brain and make sure there's no restriction going on, no deprivation going on. I actually teach you during that phase to believe that you can eat anything you want. It's just, what do you want? And that's what is so fascinating, is that when I say everybody, when your mind and body calm down from the effects of flour and sugar, it's totally a different ballgame. And it's pretty amazing for my clients. And it all started out with just noticing with my chiropractic patients that sometimes the only way they can heal from pain is by taking that food out. I really found that it wasn't the detox or the cleansing process that created that. I found out that it was the foods that we were taking out that was creating the biggest success. And so that's what I offer now. And we keep it really, really simple with extraordinary results. And the last phase is called reinvent. And that's the transformation phase. That's the butterfly. So we go from the caterpillar, which is rethink, to the chrysalis, which is reset, to the butterfly, which is reinvent. And in the reinvent stage, that's where we really start looking at what works for you, what doesn't work for you. You start understanding the mind management part with the model. You start understanding the foods that affect you, and you start deciding what you want to eat, what you don't want to eat, what does work for you, what doesn't work for you. You start creating a way of eating that you decide to do, not what I decide to do, but what you decide to do based on weeks of working in these different processes. It changes everything. And when you have a clean mind, which is what I call when you've been rethinking and remanaging your mind becomes cleaner. And when you change what you're putting in your mouth, your body becomes cleaner. The alignment or the connection is better and easier, and reinvention happens. So we put it all back together, and the butterfly emerges, and you and my clients have created a new life based on these three phases. And we spend a lot of time in the third phase on what that looks like. It could be changing your career. It could be changing something in your life. But you're going to find that through these three phases, you do not come out the same person, and your life is not the same, which is why I call it a transformation. And it's why I call it the thinner peace process. So that's what I have for you today. It's so exciting. And I've never really gone through all three phases in the podcast, but I wanted you to have a little bit of an idea of how it works. And if you're interested in really learning if this process could help you, I offer a mini session where you can sign up and talk to me, and we can spend 30 minutes on if this program would be a good fit for you, if I think that this program would be a good fit for you. And if you've been listening to my podcast a long time and you've been hearing about all the different tools that I teach, I'm just showing you how I teach them and when I teach them. And so I hope this has been really, really helpful to you. And of course, I don't want you to forget, or for me to forget, that within this three-phase program, one of the things that I teach within each phase always is self-compassion, right? You can't get through rethink without learning self-compassion. You can't get through reset without learning self-compassion. And the only way that you can reinvent yourself is through self-compassion. So no matter what else you do this week, no matter where else you go, please, please, please be very, very kind to yourself. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. If you've been following my podcast and you're loving all the tools that I teach you, but you're just not sure that you can do it or apply it by yourself, then please go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. And you can find out if the program that I do and the coaching that I do will help you get to where you want to be, to learn all the tools that I teach and be able to make it a part of your life. Just go to drdebbutler.com/work with me. You can set up a free 30-minute mini session.